Thanos deserved to win by Full Fat Videos. Okay, all right. Let's see. It's probably an immediate agree.
Directors Anthony and Joe Russo had a nigh insurmountable task ahead of them. After 10 years of anticipation, Thanos couldn't just be a good villain, he had to be the best villain of the MCU.
Yeah.
This meant he had to do some bad things, which he does, but it goes beyond that. The Russos knew it would take more if they wanted to make him the next Darth Vader.
Thanos, well, he's not the next Darth Vader. That's fucking nuts. But Thanos was pretty good character. I do agree that what he did was probably necessary for the world, and whenever the heroes reversed it, you could see that it was necessary for the world because everything started getting more and more fucked up again. So, and there was basically nothing that happened in between the movies because it was a better world. So realistically, Thanos was right. He did the right thing. Honestly. I do dislike that they took out the whole other angle of it because in the comic books, Thanos is like desperately in love with Death, with Lady Death, and she. So that's part of the reason why he wants to kill everybody.
What made Darth Vader so memorable, what makes him one of the greatest villains of all time, is his empathy. It's the facets that make him feel like a hero rather than a villain. It's the things that make him feel like an underdog. The Russos understand this.
No. Darth Vader was a menacing force of destruction right up until the end, dude. No, I don't agree.
And they put all of the things that made Vader great into Thanos.
In fact, I think that Darth Vader would have very willingly and very easily killed his kid. He had no problem doing that. Honestly, the reason he switched to the good side at the end is because he lost. He found out that the dark side is not all-powerful. That's the only thing that turned him back.
The challenge was evident from the very beginning. Thanos appeared beforehand in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but these appearances were one note: mustache twirling, broad stroke
and
caricatures.
Let me be even more like clear about this. Darth Vader didn't really become a sympathetic character until Episode 1. So episodes 4, 5, and 6, Darth Vader was not a sympathetic character, and yet all that time he was still the most iconic villain ever, besides for maybe Sauron.
Villain. In many ways, these appearances are like what we first had with Vader. Imposing, intimidating, but one-dimensional. It was The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi that elevated these excellent foundations into something much more. And so with Infinity War, the Russos had the same challenge.
Yeah, again, I don't think that Darth Vader really became a sympathetic character until Episode 1. Maybe you can argue that the very end of Episode 6, he showed a little bit of sympathetic characterness, but realistically, throughout 4, 5, and 6, he was just like this dark villain who would do anything, and I have altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further, you know? That's Darth Vader.
Challenge.
You cannot
How do you
win.
take a character that it seems impossible to look inside and make you see things his
You
way?
know, you have failed me for the last time, and he chokes someone to death through a Zoom call.
How can you take a character, show him doing despicable things, and still feel by the end of it all that his victory was the most earned above all else?
I am.
Whether or not we can agree with Thanos, there's no doubting that you could watch Infinity War and not come away from it knowing his core beliefs. The Neo-Malthusian ideals he champions seem so sincere, so selfless when he utters them. He doesn't hide his intentions from anyone. More than that, he's prepared to argue for them with such conviction. He can spin his beliefs to sound so benevolent. We see Thanos call his cleansing merciful, yet we see a child panic in fear as they violently cling to existence. We know that what he says is indoctrination, yet whenever he is challenged on his morality, his past experiences...
I don't know, I think this kind of ties in with the whole thing of, like, empathy can be a weakness, because, like, if Thanos was thinking about the one child who vaporized into dust, then he wouldn't have been able to complete his goal of saving the universe and wiping out half the people.
...can tip the balance in his favour every time. And it's more than just a defense of his belief system. Thanos champions himself too. His confidence shines through in his every action, and he doesn't try to be humble to create a facade. He is who he is.
Yeah.
Something that could almost seem
He is inevitable.
admirable.
You're strong. Me.
Thanos is strong. He is generous. There's a level of humility to him, yet also so much arrogance.
Wait, I thought you just said he had no humility to him at all. Why do YouTubers always do this? This is something that has been really fucking me up recently, is that I find more and more YouTubers who will say something and then 30 seconds later they'll say the opposite.
He's unapologetic about the fact that he's the toughest there is. If you need to see how wholeheartedly he believes in his ideals,
I'm not a big fan of paraphrasing quotes like that, where like you put in extra words or you put a ... in between. There's definitely context inside of a quote, and a quote is said specifically. Like, so whenever you take the middle of a quote out, it just seems like you're being disingenuous.
look at the smile he gives when he's finally alone at the end of the movie. He doesn't ask for thanks, just like a true hero. It's truly good, at least by his own standards.
Yeah.
As a wise man once said, to be truly decent, it has to be...
I will say, pulling Death out of the equation, pulling Lady Death out of the equation and having it just be Thanos with his, like, tragic backstory and everything was actually a really smart move for the movies to make him more empathetic. Because without Deadpool being a main character at this point, you can't really do the Lady Death thing because it's a love triangle where Lady Death actually loves Deadpool and Deadpool actually loves Lady Death, but they can never be together because Deadpool is effectively immortal. And Thanos loves Lady Death, and she has some feelings for him too, and he's constantly trying to win her favor over Deadpool.
Without witness.
You can't have that if Deadpool isn't existing.
Without reward.
Which,
He sheds
realistically,
his armor.
the biggest failure of the whole Marvel universe is that they didn't have the rights to most of their best characters, like X-Men, Spider-Man, and they didn't utilize Deadpool for way too long, to where by the time that everybody was pretty much wrapping up and everybody's done with their series and everything, Robert Downey Jr. is moving on, Captain America is moving on, at least temporarily until now, but they're all starting to like move on and do different things, and there's nobody else there to really pull people in. Like, not having the X-Men, not having Spider-Man for super long until the very end, these were all huge problems, huge mistakes. The Fantastic Four, not having them. Dude, the Fantastic Four are one of the most important people in the entire Marvel comic books, no matter what you want to say about the Fantastic Four. They are some of the main driving factors of everything that happens in Marvel from the beginning. So to not have them in your stories kind of takes a huge chunk away from what Marvel is. And then X-Men, huge chunk. And then Spider-Man, that's another gigantic chunk of Marvel. What you're left with is the Snickle Fritz, and that's what they were working with, and they made it work. But before the Iron Man movie, Iron Man was not really that popular of a comic book, you know? Like these characters were not popping off realistically. So if they could have actually brought in the real characters and had them do some work in here, I don't know, it could have been much, much cooler, is all I'm saying. It worked. The early Marvel up until Endgame was mostly pretty good, I will say. But it set itself up for failure in the future. Also, the Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom, dog, why would you reveal that? Do you know how much fucking cooler it would have been to find out in the movie that Tony Stark is Doctor Doom? That would have been so much cooler to find out in movie than it would have been to find out in some press circuit 3 years before the movie releases. Maybe I'm crazy about that, but I feel like I would have, like, I don't know. The whole movie looks like shit. I mean, Doctor Doom could for sure stop Thor's hammer, right? But he wouldn't be able to do it with one finger and blast him back. That's not realistic at all. Yeah, Doctor Doom is powered by runes and his powerful armor and his crazy magics and everything. But Thor's still a god. You wouldn't be able to one finger stop his hammer. I'm sorry, dude. There are many moments where Doctor Doom gets whooped on by just the Fantastic Four.
Because he is a holy man on a peaceful journey, or at least with those intentions in mind.
Honestly, I would have liked it a lot more if he tried to block it with one finger, and then it pushed him back, and he had to grab it with his hand at the last second or something with his other hand and stop the hammer. That would have been this is what I've seen in the trailer from him. That would have been way cooler and made more sense because Doctor Doom's biggest flaw is actually his hubris. It's the way he believes that he cannot fail ever. There's no way possibly that Doctor Doom can ever fail in his mind. So for him to try to block it with one finger, but then find out, oh shit, I need to at least use my hand to block this. That would have been a better, more realistic moment in the Doctor Doom way, I think. Because he does every now and then, he's like, oh man, oh fuck, I'm fucking up. And then he switches, you know? Rather than, I am all powerful and nobody can stop me. And actually, that's true. And then, you know, you'll hear people argue that, I know I'm on a Doctor Doom tangent, you'll hear people argue that Doctor Doom took over the entire universe in one of the comic book series. That's true. So did Hulk. Okay? So did Hulk. So, and Hulk and Thor fight to a standstill often. So, like, the power scaling in these comics depends on who's writing the comic, and also... and that's a direct quote by Stan Lee, by the way. It says, who would win in a fight? Whoever I say would win in a fight. It's the writers who decide. That's what Stan Lee said. You know, and then he probably said Excelsior or something like that. But, so, the writers do decide at the end of the day who's going to win and who's going to lose. But they still try to stick to a basic line of what somebody can do and who they are, you know? And that's what I think that they're failing at here.
Of course, he breaks that peaceful mantra several times in the movie, but never in a way that seems untrue to his word. He attacks people, he kills, but only when it stands directly in the way of his quest. Yeah. There's several instances where he can kill characters, and he chooses not to. He subdues all of the Avengers at the end of the movie, rather than killing them. He gets 2 instances to kill people.
I always thought that this was kind of a huge mistake on their part, too. Like, to not kill off any of the real, like, important characters during the whole Endgame battle, it was a huge mistake. In the Infinity War, to only kill people off with the snap and not anything else, I just think it's a big mistake. You lose a lot of your power in a story when you're doing this.
Peter Quill.
People need to be able to die. That's, like, for me, part of a story.
Even after Quill has assaulted him under duress, and he doesn't.
At least an action story.
These moments can be used to help him justify his darker actions. He is a man of his word, for better or for worse. It's how we know that he does indeed love Gamora, before the Red Skull and the Soul Stone confirm as much.
Yeah.
It might be an abusive, controlling, destructive love, that to many wouldn't be love at all, but to Thanos, he's doing what he thinks is the best way of expressing it. By his own code, a code that he never wavers from.
Hell yeah.
And Thanos doesn't lie.
That's why Thanos, these are the... excuse me. These are the reasons why Thanos is the manliest character in Marvel.
Even Steve Rogers lies, but Thanos doesn't.
Yeah.
And he can't respect anyone who does.
Hell yeah.
Look at the way he treats Tanalia Tavar. He has absolutely no time for him. As we've seen, the Collector is duplicitous, mercenary, without seemingly any thought given to a being that is not himself.
What a missed opportunity to cast either Johnny Depp or, who's that guy who got replaced recently with a face mask? Jim Carrey.
And when Thanos confronts him, his cowardice makes Thanos like him even less. Compare that to Peter Quill moments later, who shows all the things that Tavar lacks. Courage, will, honesty. And what does Thanos say?
I like you. Now, reality can be whatever I want.
That same scene shows us Thanos' intellect. He outthinks and manipulates everyone. He tricks the Guardians into playing their best hand, just as he does with Loki, only revealing his true knowledge of their goals and intentions at the point of which they have no way out.
Yeah, and I do like that he just straight up murks Loki so hard, even though it turns out to not even be true, whatever, but because he would have no respect for Loki. Loki is the king of deception, or the god of deception.
He moves them like pieces on a board until he is in total command of the situation. He casts the illusion of his death, not because he wants to see Gamora cry, but because he knows it is the best way to divide the Guardians, the best way to make them vulnerable. He displays not only a keen tactical mind, but emotional intelligence as well.
Yeah.
Could this theatre of illusions be argued as a lie? Maybe. But Thanos never allows his character to be questioned, so neither do you. Incredibly, he still displays a semblance of integrity. He manipulates Peter Quill not by lying to him, but by testing him.
Yeah.
Thanos wants Peter to know.
Which, that's the manly way to do it, dude, for real. This is why I think that this title should be Thanos is the manliest Marvel character of the movies.
His place, he wouldn't hesitate to do what he promised.
You don't deceive, you test.
He's showing to him that he's better, that he's destined to win without ever having to say it.
And it's funny, the most masculine character in all of Marvel is played as the most evil villain. You know, take that how you will.
But just because he's often 2 steps ahead of everyone else, it doesn't mean that he never finds himself in a tight spot. Part of why we end up wanting him to win.
Even to the point to where when Thanos gets his goals, he finally achieves everything he ever wanted. Now he's just an old man in a cabin living his best life on the hills, but he just doesn't really care about anything anymore because he has nothing to work towards. Dog, that's the manliest character ever to exist in Marvel, in the movies. Like, by a mile.
Some sense, even if it's only just a little bit, is because the film frames him as an underdog at key moments. Look at what's going on here. He's being ganged up on by several characters, aggressively restraining him whilst he cries out in anguish. Suddenly, he's not the malicious figure, despite all that has happened. The Avengers are. They look like bullies. And the same thing happens when Thor impales him. He revels in it. He tortures him. Look at the expression on their faces. If you saw this moment without context, who would the film be communicating as the hero, and who is the villain through this imagery? Even seeing him fight and beat the Hulk is something that can feel oddly satisfying. The Hulk is rarely beaten, and never this easily.
Dog, anybody who beats up Mark Ruffalo, even in a movie, I should say, anybody who beats up Mark Ruffalo in a movie, they're a winner in my book. I hate Mark Ruffalo. That guy's such a lie. He's just such a deceitful little punk, dude. Like, for real.
Thanos beats him through skill too, something we can again find
And honestly,
commendable.
Mark Ruffalo's Hulk has not earned any of the hulkiness that he has. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk is a weak, terrible, shitty version of the Hulk that sucks and is stupid. Hulk is the ultimate badass. Hulk can fight infinitely. This fight would not end this way. I can promise you that, because Hulk just gets angrier. The longer a fight gets on, Hulk gets angrier and angrier and angrier, and he cannot lose because he keeps getting stronger and bigger. The only way to defeat the Hulk is to actually restrain him or to throw him up into the sun, which is what Spider-Man did in one of the comics, where the only way Spider-Man was able to beat him, Hulk had gone around, he'd killed a bunch of different Marvel characters. He stole Wolverine's claws and shoved them into his own hands. He, stole Cyclops' visor and put it on for some reason. He was just going around stealing people's, body parts and putting it on himself and running around. Spider-Man beats him, not by beating him in a fight, because he tried. And Hulk just kept getting stronger and kept getting stronger. And many people tried before him. So instead, he stepped out of the way at the last second and slingshotted Hulk into the sun using his webs with the Hulk's force and himself as a pendulum. That was the only way he was able to defeat him. Because the Hulk can only be defeated by being restrained. You can't, and even then, he's just going to get angrier. So you can only restrain him for so long. Unless you fully knock out the Hulk, which is damn near impossible. Like, I don't know. All I'm saying is Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, this Marvel Hulk that they have going on now, is a pale comparison to what the Hulk is supposed to be. He's a weak little nothing who never even got his own movie.
Seeing a character display vulnerability, no matter who it is, makes us care. And when they manage to crawl out from an intense situation and against all the odds keep fighting, we can respect that. It makes all of Thanos' triumphs feel that little bit more earned.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That quote's all right. He's not dangerous because he has the stones. He's dangerous because he has the will to use them. I mean, that's because he has the stones. You know what I mean? Double meaning there. But also because he has the ability to use them. Because most people who use them will just die.
His vulnerability perfectly complements his determination. If we saw him vulnerable too much, we might not be impressed by his efforts. And if he displayed determination without overcoming struggle, we'd want to see him fail. His vulnerability and his determination are perfectly balanced. You get the sense throughout the movie that he is unstoppable through sheer will alone, forgetting any other factor. He will complete his quest no matter what it takes.
Yeah. I don't know. He could just read these quotes out loud. It's kind of low effort to me, in my opinion. When Thanos decides to do it, he really goes for it, and he's kind of one step ahead of our heroes throughout the movie, and he puts them through a lot of pain. Anthony Russo. I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I still feel like Thanos was pretty based.
His speed, his ferocity.
Like, from his thought process, from where Thanos is coming from, like, from his own perspective, he's definitely correct. Now, if I had the chance, would I kill half the people in the world? No, probably not. Probably not. But, you know, if it depends. I guess it depends, you know? But, he has the determination, the will, the strength, the honor to follow through on his goals and complete them. That's what makes him so awesome.
Almost unmatched. He sees determination in others as admirable, even if he disagrees with them. The look he gives Cap when he puts all of his might into stopping the gauntlet. The soothing words he gives to Wanda after witnessing her kill the person she loves. Of course, something
Person's
he can
a strong
empathise
word
with.
there.
After his bout with Tony Stark, someone who he saw himself in. And of course, he sees it in the young Gamora. He doesn't think lesser of anyone unless they stand in opposition of his beliefs. He always notices the bravery in others, but always makes sure that he can match whatever they throw at him. He will not be outdone by anyone, and he has the gumption to prove it.
True. Yeah. Yeah, see, most people would be dead before they even put the second stone in that gauntlet.
Characters lost a lot in this movie. Thor lost his brother, his best friend, half his people. Tony loses his soul after fighting to save it for the last 6 years. Steve loses his Bucky and his Sam. Rocket loses his son. Okoye and the Wakandans lose their king. But Thanos loses something too. It might not be on the same scale, but Gamora is the only thing he has.
Yeah.
The only thing he has that's still good in this world. The only part of him that the universe can accept.
And he sacrificed
his creed,
her.
his integrity, his cunning, his vulnerability, his determination. It all binds together to concoct a portrait of a living, breathing character. But without Gamora, Thanos would not work. If Darth Vader has a Luke Skywalker, a character to ground him emotionally even if his soul is irredeemable to us, an umbilical cord to let us see behind the mask.
Which, here we go. Perfect example of why Disney Star Wars sucks. Everybody said it, but I'm going to say it too. Luke Skywalker literally saw the good in fucking Darth Vader. The most evil person ever. In this, at least in the open eyes of most people. Like, Darth Vader's fucking evil as hell at this point. And Luke Skywalker saw the good in him, but he's going to try to kill his own nephew because he had a bad dream about him. Nobody believes that. And then because of that, he's going to run away and hide on a planet for fucking 20 years. Nobody believes that. This is why the new Star Wars movies suck. They're completely unbelievable.
then Gamora is surely Thanos' Luke. Just like Darth Vader, Thanos thinks that what he's doing is born out of love. He looks at Gamora and sees everything that he did for her, everything no matter how black it was, in service of trying to make her fend for herself.
Then in doing so, made you the fiercest woman in the galaxy.
No, I made you a champion. Knowing you'd hate me for it. That's the sacrifice a mother makes.
The Russos wanted Thanos to do bad things, and he does continuously throughout the movie. But Gamora's death is the pinnacle of this. It's more than just murder. It's more than just villainy and maliciousness. What makes this his worst atrocity is his connection to Gamora, the way in which he very nearly doesn't go through with this terrible deed, but soldiers on anyway. And we can see parallels with this moment. But instead of doing the right thing when the time finally comes, Thanos takes the darkest path. It is the paradoxical nature of this deed that makes it feel so despicable. Wiping out the universe is a statistic, unbiased, random. But this is calculated, destructive, and the purest evil. What makes Infinity War so good is the fact that no one really wins, not without paying the price.
True.
And because of all this, Thanos deserved to win.
And Thanos definitely, after all that, after he succeeds, he definitely becomes sort of like, in a way, a broken down person, because he has everything. He's completed all his goals, and he sacrificed everything to get there. So now he's just kind of like an old dude chilling on his farm, thinking about the past, you know? I kind of like that.
Not in a moral sense, not because he was the kindest or the most assertive or the one that did the right thing. He didn't do any of that. He's an evil man.
There's a Klingon saying from Star Trek where they say, pity the warrior who slays all his foes. You know, feel bad for the man, basically, who completes all his goals. Because then he has nothing left to strive for.
The movie ultimately makes that clear. He deserved to win because he wanted it more than anyone else. He deserved it because he tried the hardest and was willing to break himself and take the hits and kept moving forward. Thanos was the only one that was aware of who he was. He was aware of his flaws. He didn't wear a mask and hide behind a facade. He didn't rest on hope or put his trust in anyone other than himself.
True.
Because of these 6 traits and his rigid adherence to them no matter what the cost, he is the only person in the universe who had the will to carry out the thing he felt he had to do.
That was a really good video. I liked that a lot. Full fat videos. Heck yeah. Nah, I mean, didn't agree with every single thing he said, but still, very, very good. Thanos definitely deserved to win, for sure. And I think Thanos was one of the best written villains we've had in a long time. Not every villain needs to be sympathetic, but if you do it right, it can be good. You know, that's the thing. Most people don't hate character tropes because they are the trope. Most people hate character tropes because they're done bad. You know, cliches exist for a reason, and it's because they work when done right. I don't know. Great video.